I am Savanah Winn. I am a senior in the BFA concentration here at Temple. And I'm here today to talk about my thesis film, Don't Miss Your Exit. It is about Jasmine, who's a young girl, and she's trying to take care of her sister and her mom who has an autoimmune disease in their bakery. And she has to decide whether or not she wants to pursue her dreams outside of her family or to stay and essentially give up her own purpose in life. I started writing this story, I want to say about, it's been so long, about a year and a half ago. We started writing it in our second semester of junior year, so it's been about a year. This story came from the heart. I'm the first person in my family to go off to college, go off to another state, leave my family behind, and I felt like my family was gonna fall apart because of that, but it essentially made us stronger. So I felt like, why not take a real life experience and make it into a film? Yeah, I think I've been wanting to tell this story for a while. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and I felt like a lot of my peers just kind of let life take them wherever it took them. A lot of people that I grew up with are either dead or in jail, and so they've never really got a chance to achieve their dreams. It was important for me to separate myself from my family in order for me to find a different perspective of life. And the drafting process for this, it started off as like 20 pages, and I had to essentially cut and rewrite. I did about 15 drafts of this story, and so it had to be personal for me to be able to enjoy the film. So for me, this was the first time I had to work with a crew this big, and Nia is also, who's my producer, she's also a Black woman as well, and me and her really connected as far as that aspect. All of my cast in the film, it is Black, and so that was important to me, and as producer, she really helped keep our spaces in the film as coherent and as concise as possible as far as what it came to my vision. And working with Kent has been amazing. He's a great DP. He saw the realness in my script, and he saw the realities that a lot of people face. I feel like the story is very palatable, so he brought on his experiences from being from Tokyo, and like, even though he may have a different experience about life, he was able to recognize that this was a different experience and bring that through the colors and the shot selection. And working with Emely has been great. She's from New York, and we're currently working on our assembly cut for the film right now, and we have a few cuts to go. But Emely really loves the story. She loves the warmth. She loves being able to see a female lead in the film, and it's just been amazing to work with open-minded people. As a director, I'm always looking for other ways that my story can be different, or that my story can relate to the next person. And so working with different types of people from different levels, from different states, from different continents, has been an amazing experience for me. I think the hardest to write for was the younger sister, Nadia, in the script. She's a bubbly person. She's essentially a 15-year-old who is nosy and digs through people's stuff and like makes snide comments, but she looks up to her sister. And I'm the youngest in my family, so it was hard to write someone looking up to an older person, especially because I had to look up to my older brothers and sisters, and I had to like put myself in a different space. And I just kept rewriting Nadia, and like originally she was like 10, and we were like, no, we need to age her up. And some people didn't even want Nadia in the script. Some professors were like, maybe we should try to like make Nadia the main character, and it was just a lot to work through as far as Nadia's character. I feel like with Temple, there is a lot of just people to work with. Everybody is so collaborative. Everybody's just so nice. We had a lot of people who wanted to be on set, and it was really important for me to have a diverse set, especially having like freshmen and sophomores and like underclassmen come on, because there's a lot of roles that they can learn from. And I just feel like Temple prepared me really well to work on sets. It's like we have a lot of production classes. It prepares you for the pre-production work, but actually having to be on a set is it's a different experience. And so I really learned from Temple like how to work under pressure and like how to communicate effectively with the team. And just taking classes at Temple have really prepared me for this experience, and also the people that I get to work with. There's so many talented filmmakers here at Temple, or just people who want to tell stories, even if they aren't in film. I've had some people on set who didn't major in film, but they wanted to hold a slate or they wanted to help with production design just because they were interested, and I just found that really fascinating. But I do feel like Philly is up and popping. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities in Philly. We shot at a bakery and they were Philly owned in Philly, and they were really excited about having a shoot there. And I feel like during this process of filmmaking, we had to go out and ask businesses, and we had to interact essentially with Philadelphians, and I thought that was really cool. And we were surprised at how many people wanted to be involved with not only my film, but with Temple. So the first time I worked on a Temple set was during my junior year. It was my first time. I was assistant director. I really had no idea what I was doing. And I just was like thrown into the water, and I just learned how to swim, if that's a good analogy. I feel like it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it would be really hard to navigate a set, but everybody is so well-mannered and everybody wants to help each other. So everybody's always asking questions or making sure things are clear and that the communication was on 10 and the vibes are really high. And so as assistant director, I fed off of the crew and I learned how to navigate making sure that things were on time and that things were moving, and it became fun for me. I love being an assistant director. I was also a script supervisor. I PA'd on a few Temple sets, and I was really able to learn the ins and outs of a set and how much of a family we kind of become by the end of a set. And so going from an AD role or a script supervisor role to then having to direct a set, and this was the biggest set I've worked on. For Don't Miss Your Exit, we had a crew of about 25 at one day. And a crew of 25 was really big for me. And so it was important that my heads of departments knew who was under them, and essentially I knew everybody's names on a set. And I felt like for me, it was important for people to feel comfortable. Even as a Black director, sometimes you can get on a set and you may not see people who look like you. And it was important for me to make everybody feel comfortable and confident in their abilities, because we're all here to, one, do a job, and two, we're here to have fun. And so as a director, the first thing I did was a safety check. I knew everybody's names, I knew everybody's pronouns, and I knew what everybody was doing. And essentially for me, I just took my experiences from being like an assistant director or being a PA, and I just had to be the director because you're essentially the head of that department and that crew. And I feel like it's a really good experience. I don't want to overwhelm anybody. I don't want to be a mean director. I know some people have experienced that. And so when I lead a set, it's with confidence, but it's also wanting everybody to cherish this moment. I want to say my motivation for the BFA track was, I saw the film Black Panther when I was 17, and I did not know what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be a journalist, but I knew I wanted to essentially tell stories, but I didn't want to do it in a journalistic way. And so when I saw Black Panther and I saw that it was a Black director, it was a majority Black cast, and that I felt like seeing somebody who looks like me in a high place as a director, I felt like I could do that, especially because I take value in my stories, and I felt like my stories should be heard, especially if you're writing stories that are complex and raw and about an underserved community who may not even see themselves in the media. I thought that was very important for me to tell. And so when I got to Temple and I learned about the BFA track, I felt like directing is what I want to do. And it wasn't to just tell people what to do. Like, I want to be a director to tell people what to do. No, I wanted to be a director because I felt the need for a more diverse voice. And I felt like I could be the example that I saw. And I feel like if you're in a position to be that example for somebody else, then more people will want to join, or more people will want to do something like I'm doing. And essentially, the BFA track has been a wonderful experience. I've learned from so many of my peers in the track. I've learned from professors. I've learned how to critique a script, and I've learned a lot of script analysis. I've learned how to take something that's up here in my mind and how to put it on paper. And I've learned how to do that in such a short time, because essentially the BFA films are 15 minutes flat. And so I just learned how to be a filmmaker in the track, and particularly moving from a directing standpoint, I think that the BFA track was a great experience for me. Follow your dreams. No matter what's going on in your life, no matter what you think about the future, no matter how hard it may seem, don't let your exit pass you by. Just take it, follow your dreams, because you're always gonna think about it. And if you don't go chase your dreams, I feel like it's gonna just be hard. So just follow your dreams. Go Owls.